Last night, I ran into my best friend on a quiet street. And this morning, I found out he's been dead for 2 years.
I know how insane that sounds. I wouldn't have believed it either. But we talked, we laughed. He remembered things only he could possibly know.
And if it wasn't really him, then I still don't know what I was standing in front of. I've replayed that moment 100 times in my head, and every time it feels worse.
Because I know what I saw, and I know what the records say.
One of them is lying, and I'm terrified of which one it is.
So, before you judge me, before you think I'm crazy, just listen.
Because what I'm about to tell you changed how I see reality forever.
I still haven't told anyone this, because I don't even know how to explain it without sounding insane.
Some things sound normal until you say them out loud, and then you realize how wrong they feel.
I've spent all day trying to convince myself that what happened had a logical explanation.
But every explanation I come up with falls apart.
And the more I think about it, the more I realize I wasn't supposed to see what I saw.
I wasn't looking for anything strange that night. I was just trying to clear my head. I take that walk all the time. Same route, same streets, same silence.
It's the only time my mind ever feels quiet.
Or at least it used to.
It was around 11:40 p.m. when I reached the old part of the street, the one with only a few working lights.
That's when I saw someone standing under the far streetlight.
At first, I didn't think anything of it. People walk their dogs, take calls, smoke. It was normal. But something about the way he was standing felt wrong. He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't moving. He was just waiting.
I slowed down without even realizing it.
And that's when the streetlight flickered, just once. When it stabilized, I could finally see his face. My stomach dropped before my mind even caught up, because I knew that face. I'd know it anywhere.
It was my best friend.
My brain kept telling me it couldn't be him, but my eyes refused to look away.
I stopped walking. My body froze before my mind could decide what to do. He lifted his head slightly, like he had been waiting for me to notice him.
And then he smiled. That smile wasn't warm. It wasn't happy. It was familiar.
My chest tightened, like something inside me knew the truth before I did. He said my name, softly, perfectly, like he always used to.
I felt my throat tighten. I couldn't answer him.
Not because I was scared, but because part of me already knew something was wrong.
He tilted his head the way he always did when he was trying to read my face.
And that's when I realized he wasn't just standing there.
He was coming closer.
I finally forced myself to speak, even though my voice didn't feel like it belonged to me.
I said his name, and the sound of it felt wrong in my mouth. He answered immediately, like he had been waiting to hear it.
His voice sounded normal, too normal. Slow and heavy, same tone, same calm, the same way he always spoke. But hearing it there, on that empty street, made my skin crawl.
He asked me how I'd been, like nothing had happened.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but I just stood there.
I answered him like everything was normal.
That's when I realized something terrifying. He wasn't pretending to be alive.
He thought he was. He asked if I still took the long way home, just to avoid the noise.
My heart skipped because I had never told anyone about that.
It was something I'd started doing after his funeral.
And he said it like it was just another normal habit of mine.
Then he mentioned the scar on my left wrist.
A scar I got when we were kids, breaking into that abandoned house. No one else knew that story. Not even my family.
He smiled again, like he was proud of remembering.
And that's when fear turned into something worse. Confusion.
Because if he knew all that, then what exactly was he?
Like walking on glass, I asked him where he'd been all this time.
He frowned, like the question confused him. And he said something I'll never forget.
He said, "What do you mean? I've been right here."
And that's when I realized he didn't know he was dead.
The air around us felt heavier, like the night itself was listening.
I noticed his shadow didn't move when he shifted his weight.
My stomach dropped when I saw it. I told myself it was just the angle, just bad lighting. But then he stepped closer, and the cold followed him. My skin crawled, like I was standing beside a freezer.
And his breath, I couldn't see it.
That's when panic finally started winning.
He tilted his head like he could feel it too.
"You're shaking," he said, but his voice had no breath in it.
That's when I knew something was completely wrong.
But I was already too scared to run.
I looked down at my phone just to ground myself in something real.
The time said 2:17 a.m.
That's when I remembered he died at 2:17 a.m.
Same minute, same night, same place.
My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I asked him what day he thought it was.
He said the same date from the night he died.
My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe properly.
He asked why I was staring at him like that.
I whispered, "You don't know, do you?"
He frowned again, like I was speaking nonsense. And that's when it hit me.
He wasn't haunting me. He was trapped.
My mind went blank, like it was trying to protect me from what I already knew.
I pulled up the article I had saved, the one about his accident.
I hadn't opened it since the funeral.
The headline burned into my vision.
Local man dies instantly after late-night collision.
The time of death, 2:17 a.m.
The location, this street.
My legs almost gave out. He died right here, where he was standing.
And he was reliving the last moment he ever knew.
My voice cracked when I finally told him.
I said, you were in an accident.
His smile faded, like it was never real.
I said you didn't make it.
He stared at me like I had just erased his world.
And for the first time, he looked afraid. He opened his mouth like he wanted to laugh, but nothing came out.
It was like watching someone remember how to breathe. He looked down at his hands like he didn't recognize them.
I was just here, he whispered. His voice sounded like it was breaking inside him.
He asked me what happened. I told him about the crash,
About the ambulance.
about how fast it was.
And how there was nothing anyone could do. He closed his eyes, like he was trying to wake up.
When he opened them, they were full of fear.
Am I dead? He asked.
I couldn't answer him.
Because saying it felt like killing him again.
He took a step back, like the truth had physically pushed him.
The light around him flickered, like it was losing its grip.
He looked at his hands again, but this time they were fading.
I don't want to disappear, he said. I tried to grab him, but my hand passed through.
It felt like touching coal smoke.
He started crying, but no tears fell.
Please, he whispered, don't let me be alone.
I wanted to lie. I wanted to promise him everything. But something told me this wasn't a place I could stay. The air began to vibrate, like reality was tearing.
He looked behind him, and his expression changed.
Like something was calling him.
He reached for me one last time.
And then he was gone.
The street felt colder without him, but somehow quieter. I stood there for a long time, staring at the empty space where he had been.
I didn't chase him.
I didn't call his name. I just let him go. And sometimes I wonder,
If I had stayed longer,
would he still be lost somewhere between this world and the next?
I never told anyone this story.
until now.
If something like this has ever happened to you, tell me in the comments.
And if this story stayed with you, please tap like.
Subscribe if you want more true stories that blur the line between life and death. And tell me, what kind of story should I tell next?
Because some stories don't end. They just wait to be told.